What's good, gamers? It's your boy Tatsym back with another Subterror deck profile. Now, fan favorite deck of the channel, of course. The Subterrors is honestly in a really great spot right now. Um, the meta is kind of weird right now. We have a lot of weird combo decks, a lot of weird control decks, and none of them can really deal with a lot of back row right now, which is really cool. You can really capitalize on the fact that Lyridisk Tri Brigade only ends on one negate, and Sword Soul only ends on bad negates except Baron. And yeah, this deck is honestly in a really good spot right now. I play a lot of cards in this deck that just shut down the meta completely, which results in very easy and quick victories. Which helped a lot when I was playing this deck. I've been playing this deck live on my Twitch, which is twitch.tv/tatsym on a dueling book a lot. It has been going really well. And I decided to build it IRL as well to test it on the locals, maybe even see if it's viable for the YCS. Not really convinced yet if I'm going to play this, though. I'm still thinking it's a good contender. Uh, yeah, the deck is really good. It's not that difficult to win games. It's not that difficult to draw well, which was of course always a problem. What happened a lot when I was testing this deck IRL for some reason, not on DB, I just kept drawing the same two offs each time, and that really, you do need to get a lot of good cards in order for this deck to actually play well. So, but yeah, there's definitely a lot to be said about this deck. So let's just go straight up into the deck profile and let me show you guys what I'm on about. All right, so to start off things, we play triple Guru. It makes a lot of sense. Triple Venus. I have actually been thinking of maybe cutting this card down one slot. Kind of not happy with how the deck is like working now. If you draw two of these, it's really bad. You don't even want to draw one, you just want to draw the Guru. So yeah, I've been thinking about that. I still play Archer, just because the removal is super good. There's no Human Strix in this deck, of course. That's a very briggy card, and it doesn't really come up that often. The last monster I play is Triple Shifter. I'm not playing the Dragoon version. I'm not playing the DPE version. I'm just playing this. I would rather play this card that basically results in an instant win, most of the time, than play something like Dragoon that actually plays into the droplets or the Dark Ruler No More that the opponent might be playing. The strength about this deck is that a lot of people are maining cards right now, like Vader, Imperm, that just aren't really good against this deck. So why would you run into something like a droplets? Why would you give them value out of that card? If you could just play this, and literally 9 out of 10 times they just pass. So it's just that good of a card, and I know that it is kind of bricky. But yeah, if you just draw it, it's man, it's such a good card. Such a good card. Triple City, Terra, Triple Xref, and because I am not running any of the fusion spells, I can just run Triple Duality for the max consistency. This card is just hella nice in this deck. Just dicks you 3 cards into your deck way better, and the Xref over the Prosperity makes a lot of sense because we are definitely not chasing for any cards in this deck. Still playing Cave Clash, still think that is definitely the way to go. This card is really good. And the last card is One Call by the Grave for the spell lineup. Then for the trap lineup, we are playing double Final Battle. I did cut one of these. Not sure if I like this card at 3 better than 3 Fiendus, but of course we are still working on this deck, still a work in progress. Still a lot of things that I wanna do with the deck. And the best card in the deck is easily There Could Be Only One. Now, There Could Be Only One, I know this is a Floodgate, I know that we do not really want to rely on Floodgates too much. If you do rely on a Floodgate and it gets cleared, your entire strategy is out of the window. But what the thing is with this card is just so good this format. Against Sword Soul, it's an FTK. Against Lyridisk Tri Brigade, it's an FTK. Against Flow on the Reese, it's an FTK. Against Drytrons, it's an FTK. This card is literally super broken. And there are not a lot of decks that can deal with this card in the main deck right now. Burn Up literally just passes. Sword Soul has to have Blackout, and if they don't, well, I guess we win, Guess we take those. And that is definitely what happened in testing a lot. Sometimes you do not have Hidden City, but if you do have a way to get to this, like a draw spell or a duality, you can just get this survive. They will never be able to play and will just be able to attack with like small amounts of damage. And then you could just survive until you start drawing playable cards, which happened so many times. And even though I am playing Shifter, I am running 2 cards that do involve getting cards to the grave. I'm running Double Punishment. I had 2 slots left in the deck, and I think that this card is just so good in sending Antis and clearing out 2 cards that this card was almost too good to pass up on. But it's not the best, with Shifter, of course, and then Ice Dragon Prison as well, also not the best with Shifter, but I did want to run them. And the philosophy behind why I do want to run these cards is if we Shifter, 9 out of 10 times they will just pass, and you are not able to kill them anyway. So when you just go, like when they go first, you do Shifter, they pass, you draw an additional card, then you can just set these cards, and yeah, there's no issue. Then the next turn they will start playing and you can use them. And if you go first, you just activate Shifter, you set these cards, then yeah, of course they are pretty useless. I gotta agree with you, but they're not gonna play anyway. There's not one of the meta decks that can consistently kill you through a Shifter. And you will always have like the other traps to back you up as well, and the Guru, of course, with the Book of Moon effect. So I think that it is a very viable strategy to just play to that. Then the Solemns, I played Triple Strike, which is just such a good card this format, and Triple Judgment in the main. Still think that's just very necessary to just main deck this card. The last cards are a little bit unconventional. I play Skilled Raid, but this deck with the Final Battle can play around it, and it's just a very good card. The last card is Imperial Order. Although I am kind of against Order in this deck because the field spell is such an important part of the deck, this card is also, again, just an FTK against most decks, and often that small final push that you need extra, getting a lot of back row, but they just have a lot of spells, they just have Order, or if they main deck like some stupid stuff like Lightning Storm, sometimes you have Order. It's a one-off, of course, so it is what it is. For the extra deck, this is literally just random stuff that I have right now. Triple Antis, third one is in a different deck. I just did some super poly targets. I couldn't find a second Muddy Mud Dragon, but that card's good. Guilty Gear Freed in case people play Infernoble. Cyber Dragon stuff. Yeah, this is just cards to get extra going. I don't think there's anything that you do needs to run in this deck right now, so I just run some super poly targets because I do think that super poly is pretty decent this format. Then for the side deck, which obviously is important, Lord of the Heavenly Sky Prison, a lot to say about this card. So this card is really good against Twin Twister, Lightning Storm, which is a lot of people are going to side in. But what is also pretty good is if you do not open Hidden City, you can, for example, just activate the Final Battle, Subterror effects cannot be negated, then summon this guy, then set Hidden City on your field and just proceed to win from there. This card alone gave me so many games playing this guy, just 3k beat stick, attack each turn is just really good, and the protection effect is also really good. Yeah, I am a big fan of this thing. In any trap deck that you will set 3 or more cards, this deck is definitely viable to play. And for this deck, it's definitely perfect being able to fetch out any spell or trap in your deck, like Hidden City or Final Battle, although that's not really good because it will get banished, Yeah, it is really good, and yeah, definitely has a place in this deck. Then I played Nip. Nip is kind of underperforming in the deck. Yesterday at locals, I was playing against the guy and I nipped him. He summoned a token of 4,000, and it took me like 6 turns to clear that thing. Eventually, I did clear it with the combine a monster, then activate Cave Clash, and then set monsters. But yeah, that was really difficult. If there's a very big token, it's gonna be very difficult to out. So this is something that I do have to overthink. Not really sure what this would be. Maybe some draws to just slow my opponent down for 1 return, but draw does conflict with Shifter heavily. So yeah. And super poly because I did want to be able to board clear a little bit. Yeah, this card can come up against some matchups. Then I played triple heavy Stormduster. I figured I wouldn't need to run evenly, although maybe I'm gonna change the Nibiru's for evenlies. But deciding this in any control mirror, any trap mirror will just easily give you the game because your engine is already so good with negating and getting value that just adding this to the mix is fine. You can just leave their back row on field to turn 1. If you go second, just set this card and you just proceed to win after that. The last card is just another Floodgate Summon Limit. This card is super good this format because none of the decks can like go anywhere in their second summon, which is really cool. Like the Tri-Brigade deck doesn't really go anywhere. Alistair decks usually don't go anywhere. So this card is really overperformed for me. What I usually do is if I go first, I just side these in. Try to look at my deck, you know, what is really bad, what can I just get out of there. And if I go second, I just side these guys in, and the storms only come in control mirrors, but that on the local didn't really come up. On testing on the ranked, it did really come up often. Yeah, evenly matched, definitely something to explore as well. But yeah, I think that this deck is non-ironically in a really good spot this format. It is really easy to get your engine going nowadays, and after siding, this deck has become a lot better because of the Sky Prison, which is very good. But yeah, this deck is definitely a little bit different. I think that it does need to change a lot in order to become, you know, better. I think that this deck can definitely top a YCS. I'm not sure if it can win a YCS due to its consistency problems. You do have a lot of good matchups this format, but there are a lot of problems this format. I'm gonna be honest with you. There are. Consistency, still a little bit of a problem. Blackout, still a little bit of a problem. Aberon the Fleur is an incredible big problem because this deck can just, the once per turn pop, it's a lot to deal with if you are going second. So yeah, that's definitely the deck. I still think it's really good. You know, it has its advantage, its surprise element that your opponent sets up their their Protoss with the Chic Xiao board, and then you just don't care. Or they set up like a Robin and you just don't care, which is really the strength of the deck and where you can definitely surprise some wins. So yeah, give it a shot. I like the deck a lot. Let me know what your version is in the comment section down below. I want to thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.